Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to solve some practice questions from chapter 19. Let's start with the first question. In the open economy macroeconomic model, the supply of loanable funds equals to what? So let's draw here the supply of loanable funds model. We know that in loanable funds model, in an open economy, we have the real interest rate here, we have the quantity of loanable funds, and supply represents the national saving. National saving, if you remember, is the sum of public and private saving. And the demand is not only domestic investment this time, but plus the NCO. So demand comes from investment plus NCO. National saving is equal to public plus private saving. Therefore, the correct answer is going to be first one, A, national saving. And the demand for loanable funds comes from domestic investment plus net capital outflow. The second question, a country has a national saving of 100 billion, government expenditures of 30 billion, domestic investment of 80 billion, and net capital outflow of 20 billion. What is the demand for loanable funds? For loanable funds, remember the demand comes from two things, the sum of these two, investment plus NCO. And from the question, we know that domestic investment is 80 billion plus net capital outflow 20 billion. So therefore, demand is $100 billion. So the right answer is C. Next question, other things the same, a decrease in the interest rate. So again, we need to check the loanable funds model. You see here, if the interest rate, this is the equilibrium rate, right? Decreases. Look what happens. Here is another interest rate. So supply is here, demand is here. So this is quantity demanded of loanable funds, and this is quantity supplied for loanable funds. Therefore, we will see that the domestic investment is going to be higher, and which represents the demand for loanable funds, therefore raises domestic investment, which raises the quantity of loanable funds demanded. So this is D is the right answer. So at the equilibrium point, here is the quantity demanded, but now it raises to here. Number 4, if the supply of loanable funds shifts right, then what do we expect? Let's again draw the loanable funds model. Here we have the supply, and here we have the demand. This is the real interest rate, this is the quantity of loanable funds. Now we are going to shift the supply to the right. Therefore, the supply curve shifts to the right. This is new supply curve. And now we have a new equilibrium interest rate, which is lower than the previous one. Previous one was here, our old, and this is now the new one, our new. Therefore, the real interest rate falls. And what happens, the equilibrium quantity of loanable funds, you need to compare Q old and Q new. The quantity of loanable funds are actually going to increase. So we need to find the right answer. The real interest rate falls, equilibrium quantity of loanable funds rises. So this is the right answer. Question 5. If a given exchange rate, foreign citizens want to buy fewer US bonds, then what's going to happen? So we can interpret this in two ways, but I'm going to focus on the supply side. So if foreign citizens want to buy less US bonds, they need less dollars. Therefore, the supply of the dollars in the market for foreign currency exchange shifts right. I hope this reason is simple. Now they are buying less US bonds, so they need less dollars. Therefore, the supply of the foreign currency is going to shift to the right. So this is the right answer. Next question, which of the following makes demand for US dollars in the market for foreign currency exchange higher than otherwise? So let's look at the answers. The first one is a US airline wanting to buy jets made in France. Therefore, US airline needs less dollars. It's not going to make the demand for US dollars higher. Instead, this US airline wants less dollars because they need to buy jets made in France. They need euro. So this is not correct. How about the other one? A Swedish hospital wanting to buy medical equipment made in the US. the demand for dollars is going to increase. Why? Because it's the medical equipment. They need to buy in dollars. They need to pay in dollars. Therefore, it's going to increase the demand for dollars higher. So the right answer is a Swedish hospital wanting to buy medical equipment made in the US, but not a US airline wanting to buy jets made in France. So this is the right answer. Next question. If imports 500 billion euros, exports 700 billion euros, purchase of domestic assets by foreign residents 600 billion euros, and purchase of foreign assets by domestic residents 800 billions, what is the quantity of euros demanded in the market? If you remember from your textbook, the demand is represented by net exports demand in the foreign currency. So therefore, we need to find exports minus imports. Export minus imports are going to be calculated by exports are 700 billion euros minus 500 billion euros for the imports, which is going to be 200 billion euros. That's the demand. Number 8, if the exchange rate falls, US residents, so if the exchange rate falls, that means each dollar buys less euro. And for that reason, to buy foreign bonds, you need more dollars. So you need to have more dollars for foreign bonds, but the euro bond is going to pay you interest in euros. Therefore, each euro is equivalent to more dollars, and this means that you get more dollars from interest payments. So you need more dollars for foreign bonds, but also you are going to get more dollars from interest payments. Number 9, in the open economy macro model, if the supply of loanable funds shifts right. So this is our model. This is the real interest rate, this is the quantity, this is the supply, this is the demand. And now we know that supply shifts right, it shifts to the right. This is the new supply curve. And we will have, as you see here, a lower interest rate. Now next we need to draw the net capital outflow, which is the net capital outflow market. Here in this market we have again real interest rate, and here on the horizontal axis net capital outflow, and it's a downward sloping curve because net capital outflow goes down when the interest rate increases. So now let's look at here. This is the previous interest rate. Now because of the shift of the supply to the right, this is the new interest rate. The previous interest rate R star, the net capital outflow here, with the new interest rate, now the new, we have a higher net capital outflow. You can see from here. And now the last market that we need to draw is the exchange rate market. In exchange rate market, we have the exchange rate here, real exchange rate. And here we have the quantity of dollars, So we know that the supply is determined by NCO. The demand is determined by net exports. Demand is downward sloping. Now, before we were here, this is the old NCO. Now, because of this shift, we have a new NCO. This is the new NCO. NCO new. NCO star. Okay. So what happens is that, as you see from here, the exchange rate depreciates because of this shift of the supply to the right in the loanable funds market. So let's find out the right answer. So if the supply of loanable funds shifts right, we know that net capital outflow increases. So these two answers, one of them is correct. And next, we are not going to see a demand for dollars to shift, but the supply of dollars, because it's the NCO, supply of dollars in the market for foreign currency exchange shifts right, as we see here. This is the supply. Remember, this is the supply, this is the demand. And the right answer is B. So now this time we are going to shift the supply curve to the left. So let's start R. This is the supply, this is the demand, and this is the quantity of loanable funds. This is the interest rate in the market. Now supply shifts to the left, so the interest rate rises. Supply shifts to the left. This is new supply, and this is the new interest rate. This is new. Now we need to draw the NCO market next. This is the NCO market. We have the interest rate here and we have the NCO here. It's a downward sloping curve, NCO. And now with the new interest rate here, you have this new NCO, which is lower than before. And we can compare with the old NCO, which we have the R star. Here is the R star. And now this is the old NCO. So new NCO is lower compared to this number with this number. Now we move to exchange rate market. We have the exchange rate, we have the demand. Demand comes from net exports. And now with the new NCO, look what happens. The NCO shifts to the left. This is my new NCO. Look, I just go down. This is NCO and the old one is here. Old one, you can go here. This is the old NCO. So it shifts to the left. So what happens in the exchange market? Exchange rate increases, therefore new exchange rate appreciates. This is E star. This was the old one. This is the old exchange rate. So we need to find the right answer. In the open economy macroeconomic model, if the supply of loanable funds shift left, we know that interest rate rises, yes, from the first figure, okay? And the supply of dollars in the market for foreign currency exchange, which is supply is this one, shifts to the left. Therefore, the right answer is B. Now the next question, a rise in the government budget deficit. A rise in the government budget deficit is the same as supply shifting, supply in the loanable funds market shifting to the left. Okay, because government deficit decreases the amount of funds supplied to the market. Therefore, supply shifts to the left. And if that happens, we know that interest rate rises in this market. And then we know that the supply of the dollars, which is NCO, shifts to the left in the exchange market. So increases the interest rate. So in the market for foreign currency, exchange supply shifts left. This is the correct answer. Next one, which of the following contains a list only of things that increase when the budget deficit of the US increases? So when the US budget deficit increases, remember the supply curve shifts to the left, and therefore we know that interest rate for sure increases. Interest rate increases and also exchange rate appreciates. Therefore, we know that real exchange rate of the dollar increases. When the exchange rate appreciates, imports are rising because the dollar you carry, it has more value and the imported products become cheaper. The right answer is B. US imports, real interest rate and real exchange rate increases when there is government budget deficit. The next question, which of the following decrease if the US imposes an import quota on computer components? Now with that question, we are going to analyze the trade policy. So now we are going to the exchange rate market. Remember the exchange rate market, demand is the net exports and NCO represents the supply. Okay, this is supply and that is demand. So if there is an import quota, just remember that NX is equal to exports minus imports. Imports are going to go down. If imports go down, NX is going to increase. So therefore, NX is going to shift to the right. Okay, we have now new NX. And with that NX, we know that the exchange rate appreciates, okay, compared to this new exchange rate with the old one. And this new exchange rate appreciates, therefore exports are going to go down. When exports go down, we know that both exports and imports are going to go down and there's no change in trade balance. It's going to compensate, okay? So imports going down increases net exports, but because of appreciation of currency, exports going down, net exports shifts back. Therefore, there is no change in trade balance and we know that both of them decreases, US exports and imports. Therefore, the right answer is A. And the last question, if equilibrium in this figure as you see here, equilibrium in this foreign exchange market is J. Here is the equilibrium point. So that means we are in this curve and we are in this demand, right? And now if there is an import quota, the demand for foreign currency is going to shift. Remember, NX is equal to exports minus imports. When there is a quota, this is going to go down, NX is going to increase and shifts to the right. So therefore, new NCO doesn't change. New demand curve is going to be this one. And it intersects with the supply curve, existing supply curve, therefore it's G. So this is how we answer the questions in chapter 19. Thank you for watching.